Good morning, Cadre. Monday, July 16th. So this is going to be my, what I'm calling my throwback shave. So everybody started somewhere, right? So 4 years ago, I think it was early May 2014, I was talking with a buddy at work who received one of those shaving kits from Art of Shaving. I was using those cheap, well, they're not cheap, they feel cheap, cartridge razors, the Gillette Mach 5. I tried the Schick Quattro one or whatever it was, their 5-blade monstrosity. And I would use Edge Gel or Barbasol or whatever I could find. So basically what I would do is I would go 3 weeks between shaves because I hated it so much. Would only shave when I absolutely had to. But as you guys know, because you guys give me a hard time about my little goatee and whatnot, I don't grow facial hair very well. I get patches like right here. Hair does not grow there. On my neck, I do not get hair here or here. It all grows this way and then down. So that way down. So it's not really good. So what I decided, so I asked him questions, are you getting a good shave? How does it feel to have just a single blade? Is it easier to cut yourself? Those different types of things. He said, it's really good. You should just research it a little bit. That's the worst thing he could have told me. So I'm on Google searching this stuff, and I'm like falling in love with the idea of what's shaving, everything I'm reading. So what I do, excuse me, tired, is I order a kit. And the kit came with a very, very cheap, inexpensive boar brush. I got these on Amazon. I don't know what it was. It was cheap, and it shed like crazy. I make the joke that it eventually had one little tiny hair sticking out, and I finally just threw it away. I had about 50% of the hair, I swear, so I threw it away. I had everyone recommended the Merkur 34C or that Parker razor. I went with the Merkur, but I needed a long-handled one, and then I ended up piffing that to my brother-in-law. I started with the cheap Merkur blade that it came with. I will never use those again. But it also came with a puck of Colonel Conk, and it was the amber. So what I've got today, I do bloom it a little bit, so let me dump the bloom water out. And the shave was mediocre at best. So here we go. Colonel Conk Lime is what I've got now. I used amber. So this is what I'm going to use to initiate my throwback shave. What I lathered in was this big thing. It's big, guys. So in college, when I was doing my undergrad, I had to take some form of an art class, and I can't draw. I'm not a very good painter or anything like that, but we had a pottery class, and our pottery teacher, from what I heard, was awesome. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to try this out. So I ended up taking 3 semesters of pottery. I only needed 1, but I loved it. Loved pottery. Really enjoyed throwing things. I made a really nice lemonade pitcher that we still use. I made a really nice serving serving dish that we still use at Thanksgiving. I made a lot of coffee mugs. I made some freehand things, a lot of fun stuff. This one was one of my favorites because this is actually made out of porcelain. So those of you that are familiar with pottery know that porcelain is significantly harder to work with. But this is one of the pieces that I made with porcelain. And painted it obviously, but it turned out really well. So I started by using this, and then as I'm using it, I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to break this thing. So it went back into display throughout the house. But I brought it back out for this, since that's my throwback, and that's what I did. So Um, so like I mentioned, I started wet shaving in May. Well, that year, 2014, was the year my son was born. So my wife is all like, well, what do you want for Father's Day? And I'm like, I really would like a better shave brush, because I bought a Simogue 1305, which is a great brush. I ended up piffing it, my brother-in-law, but I was like, I've heard really good things about Whip Dog, and I want to try those luxury tips that they talk about, so I'm drawing a blank here, but this is the highest quality brush that he sells. And so I got it for Father's Day. So it means something to me. It was my first Father's Day. It sheds a little bit. It's not the best brush, but you know what? If you need a really good, budget-friendly Badger brush and you want to see the differences between the knots, go with Whip Dog. It's worth doing. So I'm going to go ahead and lather this, and I know with the synthetic I can get a really good lather. So I'm hoping I can do that today with the Badger. This could be a complete flop of a video. We're going to find out. So, but I'm going to go ahead and start loading here. The thing with these, and I'm going to actually do what I started doing, is I'm going to pop. This is the best way to lather these Colonel Conk soaps. I'm going to pop it out, hold it in my hand, get a really wet brush, and just go to town. You need to get more surface area when you're lathering with these. And see, there's some shedding going on. Because then you can turn it around. You've got to load like crazy with Colonel Conk. If you want to get a good shave, you got to load like crazy. Okay, and it is shedding. So I've been meaning to pull this knot but I can't. It means the whole brush as a whole just means too much to me. So that's, to me, the best way to... I mean, the thing with Colonel Conk is that it is a thinner lather. Think Honeybee, Mama Bears, those soaps. However, they recently released, and I'll try and use it on camera sometime. Not recently, I should say. They did it sometime last year, I think. An updated version of their pucks, where they added things to them that make it significantly better to use. I can't remember what they call their new line, but they got some really neat scents, actually, and I actually get better results with that soap. So, let's go ahead and build our lather in this. I did put a little bit of the bloom water in there. See, the thing is that literally my hand just sinks down in there. I mean, you can't barely even see the brush. But this is how I started. And that's the point of this video. And now another reason why I switched is because I kept hitting my fingers on the side of the walls with this smaller brush. So, I mean, well, maybe that Razor-Rock F400 I used yesterday could work in here. So, this is going to be a longer video too, guys, so I apologize. So, I mean, the thing is with this, they do lather quickly, so we're pretty much there. I'm going to have loose hairs. I don't know why, but it seems to be shedding more today than it has in the past. So, like I mentioned, I got rid of my 34C, but around 3 months in, I started shopping Razor-Rock. And I purchased this. It was my first stainless steel handle. It's an Icon handle. And our head, I believe, was called the slab at the time. I don't know what they call them now. But it's supposed to be the one that is closest to a 34C. So that's what I'm going to be using. The blade is the blade that I remember when I bought my first sampler pack, which would have been sometime shortly after starting. because I hated that blade so much. And of course it was the blade, it wasn't the user. I bought Trig. It was the first one that I pulled out of the sampler pack. This is a Pakistani blade, silver edge stainless steel blade. I've used them a couple times since. I have a few left. I think it was a 10 pack, and I've got I think this was the 5th blade, so I don't use it a lot. And it's not one that I'd probably go out and buy a lot of, but if somebody likes it, or if I saw them, I'm on vacation or something, and it's all I could get to, I would use them. So, all right, let's take this ladder to the face and finish it up. Pull out those loose hairs. I think also I lose some hairs because this brush just sits so long and doesn't get a lot of use, but I don't know, I could be wrong. But if you take the time with Colonel Conk, you can actually get a good shave and a good lather. I mean, it's not going to be tier 1 like what I used yesterday, but if you take the time, I mean, you can see it coming together. Oh, there's one hair. So once I took it to the face, I'm not getting much. What was this called? The luxury tips? No, the highest one. I can't remember the bristle type. It'll come to me. I'm drawing a blank. Silver tip. Silver tip. I've used a lot of other silver tips now as I've gone through, and this one has more of that scritchy feeling to it. I mean, you can tell. I mean, this is a budget brush, and it worked. So there you guys go. I mean, this is decent lather. That's what I want you guys to realize here. Is it's decent lather. We'll pull it out at the end. So, okay, let's get this going. So, not going to try and duplicate exactly what I did the first time. We're just going to try and actually have a good shave with it here. The point is throwback to original stuff. So this stuff's been in my den a long time. Oh, and the scent on this. Oh my gosh. It is that beautiful, wonderful candy lime scent. I love it. Love it, love it. Lime candy is some of my favorite candy, and I still, to this day, the biggest travesty that ever happened was, in the candy world, removing the lime Skittle from the original bag and replacing it with green apple. The first time that happened to me, I was so upset. And I think you can find the lime in the blue bag or the purple bag or something like that, but it's not the same. The original bag, the lime paired so well with every other flavor in there. You could grab it with the cherry, you got cherry lime. You could grab it with the watermelon. I mean, not watermelon, that's the new green. It'd probably go good with that too. Grape, the cherry. It just paired well with all of them. You could eat it by itself. You could pair it with the different ones. You get lemon and lime, orange and lime. It just worked. It's a good thing I don't eat candy very much anymore in that regard. Because every time I see Skittles and every time I'm given a bag of Skittles, like around Halloween, I'm upset. So if somehow the makers of Skittles watch this, bring back the lime. So yeah, there's a long way of saying that the scent of the Colonel Conk lime is awesome. This is honestly, I mean, the residual's okay, but this is honestly a tier 3 soap. Let's be realistic here. The new Colonel Conk stuff I put in tier 2. Finish this thought after rinsing. Okay, I'm back. So the new Colonel Conk is tier 2. It's actually that good, guys. It's got some added stuff to it. The skin conditioning stuff is good. I didn't reopen it, but that is still that mark from that crappy Persona blade. But anyways, so this is a tier 3 soap. think I put it in a higher box of tier 3, and that's probably being generous, and that's mainly because I just really enjoy the scent. But when this puck is gone, assuming it's still being made, I'll go out and buy another one. I'm not going to hoard it, but it's a good enough line that I want it in my den. So yeah. I can get a good lather from it, as you guys can see. This is a good lather. There's nothing wrong with this lather. I mean, it's not going to be that snotty consistency, you know, that has been talked about recently on the forum that you want to go for, because even though in my glycerin soaps can take on water, they break easily. So you never can get them straight to that point. I think that's the biggest complaint people have with glycerin soaps, in my opinion. So eventually it just breaks down and falls off. It's no good. It just turns into a watery, sudsy mess. So, but this takes me back. You know, I mean, this is exactly what my setup was like. This razor, though, I'll be honest with you, I really enjoy this razor because it added weight to the 34C that I ended up piffing, which was actually called a Mercur 180 because that's what they referred to it when it has the long handle. But I just always call it a 34C with a long handle. It made it easier to explain to people on the forums. But when I got this, the head geometry was literally the same. That's why I piffed that other razor. And I started using this one more because the heft allowed me to understand what everyone meant by no pressure. Because I could put this up against my face and just let it drop. There is actually enough residual stiffness to do stuff like that with this soap, but the problem is that once it starts to dry, it gets tacky. Another reason why it's tier 3 soap. So it's, you know, that's one of the cool things about, you know, and when it comes to new guys, I think a heavier razor allows them to understand the no pressure thing sooner. The problem is that stainless steel is so expensive. We're just going to do a 2.5 passes today. Add a little bit over here. So that's my recommendation to new guys, because that's when it started getting noticeably better for me. Now I still would get nicks, I still would have really bad shaves, like I would have just really bad irritation on my lower neck, because it was honestly, in my opinion, was due to the fact that when I was going against the grain, I would start applying pressure without realizing it. It doesn't happen anymore in that regard. It took a while, honestly, probably 1.5 years, but so I'm what I usually refer to as DFS minus. That's because like these very low spots, I'm still having a little bit of stubble. The aftershave can help that and take it away to where it feels smooth when I'm done, but it's not 100% smooth at the end. That's what I usually refer to as BDS or BDS plus. So, if I got a shave like this when I first started right away, I've been like, dang. But you know what else probably would have happened? I probably wouldn't have stayed on the forums. I probably would have been like, oh wow, you know, I'm getting great shaves like this. I wouldn't have been asking for advice. I wouldn't have been trying to learn new things. Probably wouldn't be using new soaps. So the fails in the beginning probably brought me to where I am today. What's that saying? You learn from your mistakes. So I'm going to pull the lather real quick. Just to kind of show you guys that you can get serviceable lather with Colonel Conk. It's not going to blow you away, but it's serviceable. So if you are a new guy and it's what you got because that's what you can afford, spend the time with it. Get a synthetic. The leather is actually a tad bit better with a synthetic. But it is slick. You can't argue that. And that's one thing that's going to be nice because that'll help you guys with the no pressure. The cushion is not really there, so I don't recommend jumping straight into this with a straight unless you're more experienced. But residual's not great. You can see what's left after 2.5 passes is still a little bit see-through, so it's not the best cushion. Like I said, it's not going to do that whole, bloop thing. I mean, I can make it. It's just not there, and you can't get it to that wet. You get it to that wet, it's going to fall apart. So, good shave. I really enjoy it, actually. I actually like Colonel Conk. I mean, I think it's just because I've now been wet shaving for over 4 years that honestly I feel like that there's pretty much I can get anything to lather. Williams, all that fun stuff. So a little bit of witch hazel. So guys, I'm really curious to hear, those of you that have been wet shaving for a long time, if you're not willing to make a video, go find the thread in our general shaving discussion that asks this question. Let us know, what did you guys start with? How was it? Just cleaning my brush. How did it go? What did you learn along the way? If not, make a video. I think it'd be cool. This is kind of like the 7 Deadly Sins videos. I think it's kind of neat. Throwback to when you first started. I know KJ Spider said he was going to make one today too, so look for his. I think he was going to, he's been at this a little bit longer than I have, so I'll be curious to see what he uses. I have a feeling it might be Williams. Although, I don't know, maybe he started with something else, like artist shaving or something like that. A lot of guys start with artist shaving too, so I don't really know. But I think this was a neat idea, and credit goes where credit's deserved. Nurse Dave, you're the one that gave me the idea for this, so thank you when you used what you started with. And the whole time that I just watched your shave, I'm just sitting there thinking, how cool would it be that you started with L&L after the rain? I mean, because when I first started, it was Colonel Conk, Williams, Artist Shaving, Arco, and a couple of vendors. That was it. Sterling was there, so I eventually went into Sterling and got way better after that, but it took a while to get there. So that's also another reason why Sterling holds a soft spot in my heart. It's what provided me my first good shave. But yeah, how great would it be to start today? All the good stuff. Could you imagine if your first soap was like Holy Caw or Cow or however you say it? I think it's Caw. I could be wrong though. How cool would it be if you started with that? Alright, so aftershaves. I went down to the local place and I picked up a couple different things. Like I've always used Old Spice, I've always used Stetson. Those were two of my favorites, so I didn't really consider those like, I'm into wet shaving, here's what I'm going to use. But two things that I grabbed right away was Aqua Velvet and Pinot Clubman. So I'm going to use the Pinot Clubman today. Doesn't really pair with lime, but the thing with that soap is the scent's gone now. It's gone, so it's not a big deal. But so I transferred mine to glass. I went to Sally's Beauty when I bought my Clubman because my wife was all like, you need to go to Sally's Beauty. I'm like, yeah, they sell aftershave. And I can't find it at my local Walgreens. I can't now, but I couldn't then. So we went. She thought I was crazy. She still thinks I'm crazy. But yeah. So guys, that's my throwback shave. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I did. I'll use the other Colonel Conk in a month or so to show you guys it. Also, it's a tier 2 level soap. I don't think I have a glycerin soap that's a glycerin base that makes it to tier 1, but my best advice to those of you that are considering is do what I do. Pop it out of the clamshell, hold it in your hand, and lather it that way. And then I set it out to dry, and I'll put it back in here and throw it back in the cupboard. Into the back. So that's my shave. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below or comment on the forum. If you aren't a member yet at the Shaving Cadre, please come join us. A lot of great things going on. www.theshavingcadre.com. Aside from that, I hope you all have a great day and a great Monday, and hopefully work is short for you. Enjoy, guys.